So I saw this article this morning, and it's written by this website by a young man named Jordan Boyd on DualShockers.com, and the title of the article states Sekiro Shadows Die Twice will not have microtransactions. Now underneath it said a PR representative has confirmed that From Software's much anticipated Sekiro Shadows Die Twice will not include microtransactions. So he writes a really small blurb, pretty much originating that fans on the UK PlayStation Store actually saw an option that said something along the lines of microtransactions, may be included, I think optional. And so I went to the main source of the article, and it's here on this website called cogconnected.com. And they cite the same thing. So I'll read the first paragraph of the article for you, and then I'm just going to give my, my views and my thoughts based on what I've actually found. Now it says, up here it says no plans, in quote, for microtransactions in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Now, last week, a blurb was spotted on the UK PlayStation Store page for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice that stated in-game purchases optional. This led to some speculation that From Software's upcoming game would have microtransactions. However, on Monday, a representative who works for Step 3, a PR company that cites Sekiro's publisher, Activision, as a client, told COG Connected that this isn't the case at all. So this was actually found on a UK PlayStation page in the descriptions for the game, and they said it was a checkbox I can't speak issue. So I started to look into everything. I spent pretty much like 12 minutes of doing some research. So I haven't done deep delving in this whole issue. So things may change, and that's exactly what I wanted to highlight. So first of all, let's look at the language. The language says there are no plans for microtransactions. That's a vague statement, right? Now, I'm not trying to bash From Software. In fact, if anything, they've been a reputable, developing company. They publish, they develop Bloodborne. They developed, the Dark Souls games, and Sony, published Dark Souls. And I think Bandai Namco published, Dark Souls. So the development company actually does a good job. But the only thing here is Sekiro is actually being published by Activision. And as everybody knows, Activision is not really new to microtransactions. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be microtransactions because clearly these guys have said that there are no plans, but that still leaves the information vague. So what did I do? I tried to click the link that they have here, spotted, but it's a link that links to a PlayStation UK page. Now, I can't get access to that because PlayStation does an IP thing where if your IP doesn't match the store you're trying to go to, they're gonna push you back to your own IP and whatever. And please don't tell me how to do it. I know there are ways around it, but that's not my goal. My goal is I went here and I looked at the game, just to see if the US, page had the same issues there, right? And so I'm reading, and then I get to the end, and this game says, From Software Inc., all rights are reserved, published and distributed by Activision. Activision is a trademark of Activision Publishing Inc. All other trademarks are trade names, and trade names are the properties of their respective owners. Then it says this. Bloodborne is a trademark of Sony Interactive Entertainment LLC. Dark Souls is a trademark of Bandai Namco Entertainment Inc. Sony and Bandai Namco are not publishers of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Activision has no affiliation with Bloodborne or Dark Souls. Okay, I don't know when this was actually put here, if this was put here a while ago or if this was just recently put here on the website, because this is, I don't know what this is, but do they do this in other games? Let me click on Madden. Let me just click on Madden, and so let me just see if there's actually a disclaimer. Conditions are, okay, software license, no, but they're not disclaiming anything here from other companies. Now, we've seen this kind of language before. All this, there are no plans for this and that. All that stuff is vague. The game doesn't come out till next year. And so from now till next year, plans can always change. In fact, plans almost always change. So there are no plans for, microtransactions right now does not mean that there will not be microtransactions in the game. I don't know why these reporters are writing Shadows Die Twice won't have microtransactions as their heading or as their title for their articles. Guys and girls, I don't want to bash anybody, but we've seen the trend and the pattern of these gaming developers actually changing their minds after, saying one thing on paper and then another thing later on. And this didn't even come from an Activision person. It actually came from a representative who works for Step 3, a PR company that cites Sekiro's publisher, Activision, as a client, right? So this is from a third party of a third party. Ladies and gentlemen, don't fall for this BS. Don't fall for this scam. This is exactly what it is. You see, these gaming developers, they don't want to be really genuine with everybody, so they use vague languages. Just say, no, there will be no microtransactions in Sekiro. If we get that from an Activision person, that doesn't even mean anything. It can even still change. But also, it's also telling that Sony would actually do this and put this little disclaimer on the page of this game. So I'm going to be watching and seeing. You see, Activision wants to tap into this market of the hack and slash genre where players that, that play these kinds of games actually like it. And they want to see what's going on. And so, I know Activision, they make the games that have a lot of microtransactions and loot boxes. I mean, they publish the Call of Duty games. And that's not a secret. Overwatch, Activision Blizzard, that game made so much from loot boxes in its game. And even though they were not any kind of game breaking, whatever, they still had them in there to make more money. All this charging more money for extra stuff in video games, it doesn't fly with me. Personally, I mean, if you want to pay for them and you're watching this video, that's fine. It's like I always say this, it's your money. You get to do as you please. But there's an old common sense way of doing things. And that's the fact that somebody who wants to, take your money, who wants to actually, earn and win your trust has to actually work for it. And right now, we're not seeing that. This is all convoluted in a fun way. I even went to another website, I think it's in Spanish. Forgive me if I cannot recognize Spanish. I'm usually good at recognizing some languages. But it does also say it. But instead, it says it. So the way I read this is, there are no plans for microtransactions in this game. So in a different language, it's saying the same thing. No plans. And this is from a third party of a third party. And I think these are the practices that these gaming developers want to start using. They want to start using this convoluted speak. And language is very important. A lot of people don't understand how important language is. And if you're from any other background that's non-English speaking, you probably understand very, very thoroughly how much language is a very, very important thing. And then English users, English speakers and a lot of people who have English backgrounds actually have to, consciously train themselves or consciously be trained as to how language actually works. And so this is pretty much what it is. And I just wanted to make this video because, this is probably going to get buried in all the hype of a whole bunch of stuff. But I wanted to be on record somewhere on YouTube that somebody actually called out this. I'm not saying anything wrong with, From Software, a gaming developer, will need a publisher that has the money and has the, the weight to be able to lift and, promote a game like this. But Activision, they don't have a record that, we would believe something like this. So that's all I wanted to share. That's it. I guess I'll see you in my next video. If you want to subscribe, please do so and click the like as well. It helps me a lot. So thank you for your time and your audience. I'm going to get out of your face right now. Peace.